Hello, Fresno. Welcome to We Are Change Fresno on 1680 AM Conservative Talk here in Fresno. I am Stuart Webb, your host, along with my co-host Sam Cheney. Sam, what do we have on the agenda today?
We're going to talk about the Agenda 21 that's going on. We're going to talk about the economy. We're going to talk about the illegal immigration, collapse of America that's happening. We're going to talk about war, and we're going to talk about some solutions to all these problems.
There's a lot of stuff going on, and if you're not paying attention, then your liberties will continue to be eroded if you continue to be apathetic. So we are just trying to raise public awareness by doing this show, and also because we can't ignore it. Okay, we can't ignore what's going on. In the interest of self-preservation, we have to be speaking out against what's going on in the tyrannical actions and behavior of the global elites.
There's so much information, it's hard to get through it all, but we're going to try to get through what we have today. First off, I want to start off by, and let me preface this by saying I don't like politicians in general, okay? Because all I've seen from them is a bunch of lies and taking money from me. But in this case, on this issue, I want to give credit to Jim Patterson, who's an assembly member of the 32nd District, because he's actually doing his job and doing a good job, because he put together a mailer and sent it out standing up against Agenda 21, this land closure that we've been going to meetings about and forming activist groups and protesting about with Defend Rural America. He sent out a mailer saying that almost 2 million acres of land will be prohibited to Californians to protect the Sierra Nevada yellow-legged frog and the mountain yellow-legged frog and the Yosemite toad. And he says it's wrong, and we need to let the federal government know that the people's access to the land trumps some made-up endangered species that the federal government, U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, are coming at us with. And they swear up and down, which we know from the meetings, the head of the Forest Service says that the listing of these endangered species will not affect public lands. But we have a California State Assembly member, Jim Patterson, taking proactive action on it. So I want to give him credit for that, and hope that everybody fills out this mailer that received it in the 23rd District and sends it back to him. Give him some feedback. Let him know that yes, we want to speak out against Agenda 21 and the 2 million acre land closure.
Yeah, I think Jim Patterson really gets it, and by getting it, he's probably going to continue to get reelected, and he's going to keep his constituents happy, because that's what he's there for, to keep his constituents happy and to do the right thing. What they elected him for is to protect our rights, protect our access to public lands, and to not serve the interests of the global elite, okay? And just Washington in general. So we definitely are happy about that. He is being proactive instead of just saying, oh, well, the forest supervisor said that he wasn't going to close off public access. He knows that they're trained to lie, okay? And by pushing this mailer out and speaking out against it, he's at least showing us that he's picked his side, and that he's definitely on the right side. He's on the side of the people.
Yeah, thank you again, Jim Patterson. He also says in this mailer, which we know, but 40,000 residents and business owners let them know that they're against this, and they just ignored it. That's the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, the federal government, just ignored it. Okay, but moving on here now to get through a lot of news. There's a big brother bill in the California State Legislature, Senate Bill 1077, and that is going to be a tax you by the mile bill, where they install a black box in your car. And if you read this article, I'll provide a link on our YouTube so you can go to report notes and you'll see a link to it. It's absurd because the Orwellian nature of this, not only having a big brother tracker box in your car, but if you go on to read how these Democrat politicians, I don't even like to be partisan. I don't care if you're Democrat, Republican, Independent, from Mars. It doesn't matter. Just speak the truth and go with the will of the American people, and don't do these Orwellian tricks and double think mind control games that they're doing. So out of one side of their mouth, they say control your gas, limit greenhouse gas emissions. Out of the other side of their mouth, they say we need to tax more because we're losing on gas tax revenue because vehicles are more efficient. So which way do you want it, Sacramento psychos? Okay? You can't have it both ways. So now they're saying they're losing revenue, which is gas tax. That's government speak. Whenever government says revenue, they're talking about taxing you. That's money they're stealing out of you and your family's wallet. Okay, so that's their little government lingo. But they say out of one side of their mouth, drive less so we can save the earth. Out of the other side of their mouth, they say, these more fuel efficient cars coming out are cutting our tax revenue. So now the next step is to put a tax by mile scheme and a black box in your car to track where and how far you drive and all your movements essentially. And they try to sell it as being benevolent, but we know that it's going to be used for a means of control.
Well said. Isn't there that saying, there's two things certain in life, death and taxes? That is true. I mean, these politicians, we save money by, saving on gas. But then they don't have the money from the gas tax. So they don't have, the money that they want, that extra money that they want. It has nothing to do with rebuilding our infrastructure and making rebuilding the roads, because we already know that our politicians spend endlessly and have no interest in saving us money. When was the last time you got a tax rebate? And it's basically, in my opinion, it's not even my opinion, this is the truth. They don't want prosperity. They want money out of your pocket, okay? As much money out of your pocket to their pockets so they can dominate and control you, okay? So you can't have your cake and eat it too. Like Sam said, they want it this way. Drive more fuel-efficient cars because to save the earth. But while you're saving the earth, we're still going to tax you more for saving the earth because we still need the tax revenue from the gas tax because you guys aren't driving those big trucks anymore. So they're going to tax you no matter what. It's to dominate and control you. And they're saying, we can, they could spend $10 million on a study to figure out if it really works. Well, how about we just not spend $10 million and keep that in the pockets of citizens, residents? They're saying 1 cent per mile tax would generate $3.3 billion. It's ridiculous. How about that $3.3 billion stay in our pockets so we can actually create new business and a demand for new business because we have more money in our pockets to spend on things that, we want instead of need, okay? So it's all about control. It's Agenda 21, and we're going to continue to harp on it because, guys, let's be real. Taxing by the mile, are we really going to put up with it? If you're going to put up with this, then enjoy being a slave.
If you put up with being taxed by the mile with a black box tracker from the Orwellian state of California in your car, then you probably would put up with them doubling your water rates. But thanks to great activism by Doug Vigum and others in Fresno here, Measure W is going to make it on the ballot. It was verified by the county clerk that they gathered enough signatures to make it on the ballot so the people can actually vote if they want their water rate doubled.
Yeah, I've got to give props to Doug Vigum. He's been fighting the city. Him and I believe Steve Waite were sued by our own government here, okay? Miss Ashley Sweartison, I believe, our mayor. She has to be held accountable by that because our government, our local government, is suing citizens just to do something that they have the right to do in their First Amendment. Okay, so I'm very happy that this is at least up for discussion now. And of course, most people they can't afford to double their water rates over the next couple of years. They just can't afford it. And as Doug Vigum stated, that we already have a water treatment plant that's not being used, a $30 million plant that we're not using. And he mentioned that in his little debate with, I think it was Mark Standriff, who's the spokesperson for Fresno City. And he didn't have an answer. It's ridiculous. He didn't have an answer because yes, the government just builds things to build them and never use them because they don't want to actually, governments become so corrupt that they just build stuff and then continue to tax us to build more stuff that they won't use or won't use correctly to then tax us more. It's unbelievable. But at least we can have a public debate about this and our hats off to Doug Vagum and everyone who was actively fighting this. The people that went out and actually got signatures, all those activists, it's beautiful to see that.
It paid off. Yeah, thanks. It shows that the people's will can and will prevail.
If you get up off your butts, things get done.
Yep. All right, Stuart. So they're saying in the mainstream here that I guess we're booming. The California economy is booming here. California has world's 8th largest economy, beating Russia and Italy. But if you read more into the story, these numbers are rigged as they continue to rig the numbers, okay? And so how they're doing it now is they're go ahead and adding, for the first time, business spending on intellectual property, including entertainment, was included in the statistics. And as a result, the California output shows that we're ranked number 5 in the world with all rigged economic numbers.
Yeah, I don't see how that's possible when half of the state, probably more, is on government assistance and is unemployed. Okay? And that's because they don't count people anymore that have stopped looking for work as unemployed. They don't count them as unemployed. They just... How does that make sense? So if everyone stopped working, but they just never counted it, we would have 100% employment? Is that how the government... I guess that's how they report to us now. So yeah, the economy's not getting better, and we have more people than ever on government assistance. So we need to just be aware of that. We're not booming here. There's no production. I guess we do have a little bit of extra production because we do a lot. We sell a lot of intellectual property that comes out of San Jose and Hollywood, I guess, with movies and software programs. But that doesn't really account for the massive amount of unemployment that we have and government, the welfare state that we have in this state. It doesn't account for it.
Stuart, they're rigging the numbers. They never included these numbers for intellectual property and entertainment in the state gross domestic product numbers before. So they're just add and change and whatever, rig it up however they want.
Just to make it sound, like that.
It's ridiculous. These economists should be ashamed of themselves. We'll put it in the links, but it's disgusting that they're just the Center for Continuing Study of the California Economy in Palo Alto, and based on annual statistics from the World Bank. All rigged numbers. They should be ashamed of themselves.
That's government at its best, manipulating numbers and trying to convince the population that they're doing a great job when polls show opposite. And not only that, just public opinion on the street. Most people, even if you're giving government assistance, there's a lot of people that just hate what's going on. They hate being enslaved, but they don't really know how to get out of it. So they just kind of put up with it. But when the government continues to lie constantly, just like how the president just breaks the law and then says that he will continue to do his presidential duties and follow the law while he's breaking the law, and then telling his partisan opponents, the Republicans, that they're not doing their job correctly when he doesn't even enforce the laws he's supposed to enforce, while creating laws out of thin air, like the Federal Reserve prints money out of thin air. He just creates it. Just talking out of both sides of their mouth. It's a bunch of doublethink, and we need to just recognize it and stop believing it, period.
Some more rigged numbers from the Bureau of Labor Statistics, but it goes to show nationally now, 92,120,000 Americans as of June of 2014 were unemployed. That is Americans age of 16 or older who could potentially be employed in the labor force. So that's a all-time high of unemployed Americans. How can we possibly be in an economic recovery when this many people are out of work? I don't see it being possible. But they rig up the GDP numbers, and this is what we get.
Yeah, over a quarter of the Americans that could be working are just unemployed completely. And then they're saying that we have an unemployment rate of 6.3% or something. It's unbelievable. Anyway, we got to take a quick break. Here's a word from our sponsor, FresnoForward.com.
Listen up, Fresno. Are you tired of boring local news coverage? Then log on to FresnoForward.com, the Central Valley's #1 source for independent, local, and alternative news and views. FresnoForward.com is updated daily, bringing you stories on government corruption, local activism, Fresno culture, and so much more. Did I mention FresnoForward.com has no ads or signups required? FresnoForward.com. You'll love it.
Hey, folks, we're back. I'm your host, Stuart Webb, with my co-host, Sam Chaney. We're going into our second segment of this long hour of news that we have for you.
Yeah, the more about the lying and the twisting of the economic data from Paul Craig Roberts, former Secretary of the Treasury, so a man who would know, right? He is telling the American people the truth because he sees the writing on the wall. Okay, he's reporting from shadowstats.com. Everybody should go look that up. John Williams, he's reporting the real economic data. He says that the 288,000 jobs claimed to be added to the economy in the last month are fraud because they are using the seasonal factors to change every month and concurrently using seasonal adjustments, which is tantamount to fraud. So they just go in there every month and adjust the numbers around to make it look like the economy's growing and we're gaining jobs when that's just simply not the case. And we already know that they don't count the people in the U3 number who have actively dropped out of looking for a job. And so that's another way that they're lying to us about the true economy and the true economic data.
They're also saying that, you know, in the last few months, 500,000 full-time jobs were lost, but 800,000 part-time jobs were added, and that is because the Affordable Care Act businesses are preparing to be to basically downsize or to cut hours under full-time because they can't afford to stay open to operate if they have to cover their full-time workers' healthcare costs. So what we're seeing right now and what we're gonna see a lot more of is just a lot of part-time work available and people that have full-time jobs now getting 2 jobs, and then them also counting the Bureau of Labor Statistics is gonna probably count that as employment. So if I have 3 jobs, they're gonna say, oh well, I guess there's 3 more people working than there was before, or 2 more people working, but that's not true. That's just me trying to make up my losses from getting my hours cut at work. So they're fudging the numbers, and that's how they're doing it. And it's going to continue to happen when we have this whole border situation where we're going to have to pay for all these kids, and we're going to have to pay for their welfare, their health care, and all the people that can't find work, they're going to need assistance. And so it's just going to be, and then all the people that have multiple jobs, they're probably going to need, because all these jobs, they're not high paying, there's not medical students getting out of the medical field and just having high paying jobs, or lawyers getting out of law school having high paying jobs anymore. It's just minimum wage, work that 18-year-old kids should be doing, but now it's 40-year-olds doing them.
They've outsourced all the industrial base of this country. There's no more engineering jobs. There's no more good, high-paying, blue-collar jobs. It's gone, folks. And they're lying to us about the economy, okay? Another point about the lies of the economy, the stock market. Oh, the stock market's booming, up over 17,000, right? We're just living in luxury here in America. Maybe that's why all the illegals want to come here. But no, central banks now dominate the stock market, a new study found. Central banks and government entities around the world are now dominant players in the stock market, with some 30 trillion invested in equities and other assets, according to a new survey and a new study that was released a few weeks back. And it goes on to say that the shocking data on central banks' activity in the market, released on June 17th, came from the Official Monetary and Financial Institutions Forum, OMFIF, the Global Public Investor GPI 2014 publication. For the first time, takes a broad look at some 29.1 trillion in investments held by hundreds of public sector institutions in more than 160 countries. Among those entities are 157 central banks, 156 government pension funds, and almost 90 sovereign wealth funds. That's fascism. That's running the market. It's not a free market economy. And they are going to destroy any confidence of Main Street, if there's any left, with this fascism.
Yeah, the banks that control are basically rigging the stock market, controlling it by inflating it. They have an unlimited supply of counterfeit dollars from the Federal Reserve. So it'd be like me, pumping up a stock, printing 2 million, 3 million, $4 billion and just throwing it into a stock. Yeah, it's gonna look like it's doing great, but that's not real wealth, as we always discuss. You cannot create wealth out of thin air. It's hard work, sacrifice, and savings. So, and the banks, yes, it's fascism. They're backed by the government. If our business goes out of business, we don't get a bailout, okay? But the banks are insured no matter what, because we saw that in 2008. They all just got bailed out at the taxpayers' expense. So the stock market will eventually crumble. I know but like Sam said, where's the prosperity? Is there any? How is the stock market doing so well? It's all fake. It's an illusion.
Record unemployment. I don't see how it is. But this is one of those other conspiracy theories where people would say, well, the Fed is pumping money into the stock market to prop it up. That's some type of conspiracy theory. You must be insane. Well, the truth is that it's come out, and we'll post the link. I bet you can go to this article and it'll back up everything we're saying. We really wish you would. So Zero Hedge comments on like this. Another conspiracy theory becomes conspiracy fact, observed financial analyst at Zero Hedge. Okay. And so they note that central banking gimmicks distorting and inflating markets has long been suspected. To summarize, the global equity market is now one massive Ponzi scheme, in which the dumb money are central banks themselves, the same banks who inject liquidity to begin with. Okay, so yes, they are injecting liquidity into the capital markets, and that is a fraud.
It's not real wealth, people. Okay, you would be arrested if you decided to just buy a printing press and start handing out counterfeit dollars. You would be arrested. But for some reason, the Federal Reserve continues to operate above the law, even though Congress could abolish it, but they won't, because they pay for Congress to operate with all these backdoor deals, and they pay for their campaigns. So that's why you've never really seen a major, besides Ron Paul introducing bills to audit the Fed, just to audit, not even to abolish, just to audit the Fed. No, but that can't happen because it's a mafia, it's a banking cartel of elite bankers, period. Okay, that's what it is. And so this stock market will come down, and it's going to come down hard because there's countries that are not, they're going to stop using the dollar. So we're not even going to be able to fake that we have prosperity and our inflation is not hyperinflated, because the countries that stop using our dollar, see, a lot of what we're doing is basing, we're able to stay stable. The dollar is able to stay stable because based off of how well other currencies are doing. Okay, but once we lose credibility completely, we're just going to be like a third world country, and our dollar will be worth nothing.
Stuart, we already have lost credibility to the rest of the world. The only thing backing the dollar now is state-sponsored terrorism by the financial terrorists on Wall Street and in Washington, D.C. The rest of the world has had enough. China and Russia are spearheading the establishment of a World Bank of hard currencies backed by gold, and also joining them recently last week was Saudi Arabia. The rest of the world's running for the exits. I suggest that you look at the dollars that you're holding, and if nothing else, in protest, but to protect your own self and your family financially, start getting out of the dollar now and looking at other options. Hold hard assets, because the rest of the world got the clue. We're trying to give you the clue right here, right now, that the mainstream media is lying to you. The economy's not coming back. They're not going to fix this Federal Reserve central banking problem we have in this country. The longest fiat monetary system to ever last was 40 years, and we passed that last year. So historically speaking, the fiat system in this country is due to crash by every historical measure.
Yeah, if you look at all the elites, they're all buying commodity, precious metals or commodity currencies because they know what's going to happen while telling you that you're racist if you don't want to pay for someone else to live using their fiat dollar that's not worth anything. So it's the hypocrisy of the elites. You can see, I heard on the radio, someone said, hey, don't listen to what they say, look at what they do. And when you see elites buying, millions of dollars in gold, then you know that they that the dollar will collapse, that they are engineering it, okay? And it's interesting to see Saudi Arabia even go away from the dollar because, I feel like our elites have had some actually had good relationships with the Saudis because they use them as their personal terrorist army. But I think I think the elites are going to completely ditch America because they're collapsing us right now with this whole border situation. And I mean, really, it's just out in the open now on mainstream media. Everyone's talking about it, but now it's the discussion of, well, we can't be mean to the children. So they're just admitting, yes, thousands of illegal immigrants are just pouring across the border. But we still also have to be groped at the airport because we may be a terrorist.
We'll get to a little bit more about immigration later in the show, Stuart. But some more economic facts about why you feel poorer, about the lying narrative of the mainstream media that we're in an economic recovery. Okay, in January of 2000, a barrel of oil cost $24.11. In March of 2014, it cost $100. That's a 314% increase. Okay, that's your fuel that you put in your car to get around that they want to tax by the mile here in California. 1 dozen eggs in January of 2000 cost 97 cents. March of 2014, $2. That's a 106% increase. Ground beef, $1.90. March of 2014, $3.73. 96% increase. Okay, you follow the links, and you'll see what I'm talking about. There's a whole graph. I can't go through it all in the interest of time. One last one: coffee. 1 pound of coffee in January of 2000 cost $3.40. In March of 2014, it cost $5.20. That's a 52% increase in the price. That's a doubling of the price. So I don't see how we're getting in any kind of economic recovery here, Stuart. I feel poorer. Do you?
Yes, every day I do feel poor. I feel poor by the minute, actually, because I know the dollars I have in my pocket right now are losing value. And with the way our government operates, they're not going to do anything to make that dollar worth more, okay? And that would be abolish the Fed. Then maybe we could actually gain credibility in our dollar again. But yes, we're seeing 100% increases, over 10 years in our food prices, in the cost of everything. That's the devaluation of your dollar and your purchasing power. So that dollar that you got in minimum wage increase, that ain't going to do jack, honestly. They've already stolen from you. See, what people don't get is that inflation inflation doesn't mean an increase in price. Price increase is a result of inflation. Inflation, all that means is an increase in the money supply. Okay? So when people think that because of inflation, that it's just an increase in price, well, no, you don't even understand the root cause is that they're printing money. Okay? They're printing money that's not worth anything, that's making your money not go as far. Okay? It's a hidden tax. Okay? And people don't get it. So that's why we have to keep hammering it home. It's a hidden tax on top of all the other taxes. Okay, just like the tax you by the mile. It's absurd. Folks, we got to take a quick break. Here's a word from our sponsor, FresnoForward.com.
Listen up, Fresno. Are you tired of boring local news coverage? Then log on to FresnoForward.com, the Central Valley's #1 source for independent, local, and alternative news and views. FresnoForward.com is updated daily, bringing you stories on government corruption, local activism, Fresno culture, and so much more. Did I mention FresnoForward.com has no ads or signups required? FresnoForward.com. You'll love it.
Hey, folks, we're back. I'm your host, Stuart Webb, with my co-host, Sam Chaney. This is We Are Change Fresno on 1680 AM Conservative Talk. Sam, what do we have in the last two segments? What are we going to discuss?
We're going to talk about war, immigration, the NSA, and solutions. We overthrew, or we backed with NATO, the overthrow of a sovereign government in Ukraine, regardless if they were corrupt or not. It was those people's responsibility, Ukrainians, to take care of their own government, okay? And I hear them on Fox News, all over this station, too. And they're warmongering the heck out of let's go attack Palestine with Israel. All right, we need, and Rand Paul recently came out, let's cut off foreign aid to Palestine. I agree. Let's cut off foreign aid to Palestine, to Ukraine, to Israel, to everywhere, the rest of the world. Cut off all foreign aid, all right? And bring the money back home to rebuild America, because we're collapsing as fast as they could possibly make us collapse. End all the foreign wars of aggression, bring our troops home, defend our borders, end all foreign aid.
It baffles me how almost every conservative conservative, or just not even conservative, any radio talk show host on the radio right now, all of them are pro-war, for protection, while our borders are being collapsed in our face. But then they'll still be fine with, oh yes, let's go have a war let's back Ukraine. Let's have a war over here in Africa. Let's just have wars everywhere, because the terrorists, they're completely, I don't even know if they're brainwashed, but we're the general public is definitely brainwashed into believing this bull. I say we cut off all foreign aid. Foreign aid, people. I don't see how people that are against welfare are for foreign aid. So conservatives, if you hate welfare, you should hate foreign aid, because that is literally just giving money to a country, okay? Regardless of how you feel that we need to be involved, hey, your prices of everything aren't going down. You're not benefiting from all this nation building and policing of the world and starting wars of aggression. You're not benefiting. So I just don't get how anyone would be pro-war, especially right now. Everything in this country is heading towards just 6 feet under. I mean, this country's dying. So how can you even? I don't get it. Even local radio talk show hosts. I won't name the name, but you can figure it out on your own. He says, "Well, if we leave the Middle East, they'll wage war on us." Talking about the terrorists, the Islamic jihadists.
The ones we fund?
Yeah, the ones we fund. Not only that, we're already in war with them, and they're waging war on us when we're there, okay? So how would at least bringing our troops home and protecting our borders and saving some money, how would that be a disadvantage? So you're saying if we don't leave, they'll wage war on us? We're already in a war, and it's not getting any better, okay? And as we continue to police the world, it will continue to get worse. So you can think that this ghost enemy that you somehow keep propping up, that we need to go fight the terrorists. Lindsey Graham said it. Terrorists, we have to worry about homegrown terrorism as well, okay? And that could mean conservatives, okay? And returning veterans and gun owners. So that's what they've said, okay? So don't act like we have to worry about terrorists waging war on us. The government is waging war on citizens, okay, right now. So end all the wars, all the military intervention, end all foreign aid. We can't afford it. How can we afford $2 billion a year for Israel? I mean, how can we just, there you go. Why can't they can't fund themselves? We just got to fund everyone now? It's unbelievable.
Fund the war machine. That's what Washington does best. State-sponsored terrorism. That's the only thing propping up the country right now, is if you reject the dollar, then we're going to go to war with you. That's why we saw the war in Libya, the war in Iraq, and on it goes. But the U.S. is secretly operating in Somalia since 2007. Okay? U.S. military advisors have secretly operated in Somalia since around 2007, and Washington plans to deepen its security assistance. And that's right out of Reuters. The deployments, consisting of up to 120 troops on the ground, go beyond the Pentagon's January announcement that it had sent a handful of advisors in October. And we see that 800 military advisors are on the ground in Iraq right now. They're ramping up the war. They're trying to start a war in Africa, AFRICOM, to bring in the African Union. They're trying to continue to destroy Iraq and fight. They don't call it a war. It's this Orwellian nightmare that we're living in. But it's a war when you send troops there and they're killing people. Okay. And so we just find out recently about a secret war in Somalia, and we just found out. So, there's a bunch of other secret wars going on all over the world while our border's wide open. And before we get into the border crisis, there was an Islamic prayer rug found on the border. So that's proof right there that Muslims, probably of the Al-Qaeda persuasion, are coming right across the border to come kill Americans. And so where's the outcry from the government, who loves to fight terrorism so much, about the border crisis?
Well, I'm sure the NSA knows who's a terrorist and who's not, right? So they can assure us that all the children that are, over 18 that look like they're capable of just running rampant and robbing people, I'm sure the NSA can assure us that they're not terrorists, okay? It's okay. They can come across the border, but we just have to spy on everyone else and grope you and treat everyone else like a terrorist. But those, these kids coming from Latin America, they're fine. See, no, it's absurd, but they don't care, okay? We see the hypocrisy, but they just don't care anymore, because guess what? We're going to take it. We're either going to take it or we're going to do something about it. So the public has to make a decision. There is no benefit to war at all, period. Okay, there's no benefit. It's a big government program. That's all it is.
War's a racket, just like General Smedley Butler said, and that's the truth. And for all you Christians, conservatives, war is immoral, okay? Going and killing somebody is immoral. Straight up.
How is it self-defense? That's what I don't get. It's that they say, well, we have to be on the offensive to make sure that they don't, attack us. Well, so should I just go start beating people up because I feel threatened by them? No, they need to actually advance on me, and they need to actually attack me first for me to have the moral high ground to defend myself. And that's the non-aggression clause, okay? That's that, and that, you know what? That's not America. We do not have the moral high ground to be invading countries just because we feel like it. And yes, like Sam said, all you Christians and conservatives out there, if you go kill someone, just because someone told you to go kill someone does not make it okay. And that's the problem is that we have a lot of troops that have come home, and they really struggle with that, because they know that what they were doing their duty, they were doing what they were told that they needed to do. And, I can't blame them. I mean, they thought they were doing the right thing, and they were also doing their job. But they come home and they realize that is not something that we need to be doing, and we don't need to be in these countries shooting people. We don't need to be doing it. I'm sorry. Even if they could possibly at some point blow something up in this country, we have to, it's the non-aggression clause. We have to abide by that, okay?
Let's take care of America first. How can we send troops in harm's way when the VA won't even take care of them after we use and abuse and chew them up and spit them out? More troops die of suicide and PTSD syndrome than are killed in combat, okay? Because they do have some type of conscience and moral compass, and come back and realize what they fought for was a lie, all right? Talk to some veterans and you'll find out the truth, okay? Moving on here, Stuart, the NSA. Anybody that defends the NSA is a criminal in my book. They're aiding and abetting illegal wiretapping, which is a felony every time they do it. It recently came out, and I want to thank the Washington Times, or actually this was the Washington Post, but actually the Washington Times reported on it too. But it came out after a 4-month-long investigation. This is the mainstream telling you now, so it's undeniable since the mainstream told you, which we've been saying ever since we've been reporting, is that the NSA is illegally wiretapping everything through NSA whistleblowers long before Snowden ever blew the whistle. But it came out that 9 out of 10 of the people that they're spying on, which is 90%, is people with no connection to terrorism whatsoever. And they're spying on Congress, folks. You know that Congress is either bought off, sold out, or blackmailed. Okay, so think of J. Edgar Hoover. How did that work out for America? Him blackmailing everybody. That's the same thing the NSA is doing now. And what comes to mind is the passage of Obamacare with Justice Roberts, who wrote two differentiating opinions against it. He may have been very well blackmailed by the NSA and the Obama administration. That's certainly the way it looks.
Yeah, Lindsey Graham is supposed to be this Republican that is, for pro-Constitution. And he says that he's got nothing to hide. He's got nothing to hide, and we shouldn't mind that the NSA is trying to keep us safe. So we should give up our Fourth Amendment. Okay, look. Can I go set up a camera in Lindsey Graham's house? Well, he's got nothing to hide, right? He's got nothing to hide. So why can't we just... In fact, Devin Nunes, you're pro-NSA. You're my representative.
He says they're not even spying on us. I don't know how... Yeah. I guess he's calling the Washington Post conspiracy theorists now.
Who, Lindsey Graham?
Either both of them, Nunes and Graham. I mean, how can they refute this? They can't.
Yeah, and they're saying that we're only spying... The NSA is only spying on people that are from foreign addresses and foreign numbers, and that we may come up with some data from people that are in this country and not, that are in contact with those people. Well, that's a lie. But anyone who's pro NSA spying or for the NSA that supports the NSA, I propose that we need to get a petition going to actually set up cameras in their house, because if they have nothing to hide, they should have no problem with us just spying on, not spying, but just looking at what they're doing all the time. Just like the NSA tracks us all the time, collects all our emails, listens to our phone conversations, can spy on us through our laptop cameras. I say every politician that's pro NSA, let's just let's get that petition going. Maybe we'll have to start that, because it is outrageous for them to want to be for the NSA completely pissing on our Fourth Amendment. And if you get rid of one amendment, remember, you lose them all. So any politician that's pro NSA, camera in the house, period. And put it, yes, and we need to be able to check on what they're doing at all times, okay? Because they got nothing to hide, remember?
Well, that's a bit extreme, Stuart.
Maybe I'm a terrorist, I don't know.
Well, they've already labeled you as a domestic terrorist.
Yeah.
The Southern Poverty Law Center has, as being a member of We Are Change.
Yeah.
But back to, yes, they are spying. They are illegally wiretapping, which is a felony every time they do it now, right? So understand that, America. This is not to protect us from the same Al-Qaeda that we fund, okay? It's to spy, to steal people's intellectual property, to go in there and get an economic advantage over companies, and to go ahead and blackmail people. Among the most vulnerable comments that the Post reported on was that 9 out of 10 holders found in large cache of intercepted conversations, which former NSA contractor Edward Snowden revealed, was that many Americans, nearly half of the surveillance files contain names, emails, and addresses, and other details that NSA marked as belonging to U.S. citizens or residents. And they're building a profile about you. That's what they're doing to put you in the FEMA camp when they collapse the whole system. That's the plan.
Anyone who doesn't like it will be viewed as a thought criminal or a terrorist, period. Okay? It's 1984. Remember 1984, the book? War is Peace. Remember, we just have to wage all these wars because that's the only way we'll be safe. So that's why war is a complete sham, a fraud. It doesn't benefit anyone. Anyone who wants to try to debate me on whether it keeps us safe, well, good luck, because that's going to be a tough one to, okay, let's just collapse everything, our currency, let's go bankrupt, and then say it's for our safety. Yeah, good luck with that one. Anyway, we got to take a quick break. Here's a word from our sponsor, FresnoForward.com.
Listen up, Fresno. Are you tired of boring local news coverage? Then log on to FresnoForward.com, the Central Valley's #1 source for independent, local, and alternative news and views. FresnoForward.com is updated daily, bringing you stories on government corruption, local activism, Fresno culture, and so much more. Did I mention FresnoForward.com has no ads or signups required? FresnoForward.com. You'll love it.
Folks, we're back. I am your host, Stuart Webb, along with my co-host, Sam Chaney. This is We Are Change Fresno. Thank you for listening. We're going into our final segment. Sam, what do we got?
We got the border crisis and some solutions.
It is a crisis. If anyone knows anything about anything going on, you'll know that the border crisis is a real crisis. Okay, we have cities, Murrieta, California. The city of Murrieta is literally... the citizens are being told, if you protest, we're going to arrest you, okay? Just for literally exercising their First Amendment to say, hey, we don't like that you're shipping in illegal immigrants illegally, okay? The government is committing crimes, okay? I can't... Just look at the pictures. I mean, these kids aren't just... I mean, there's a lot of kids, and I feel sorry for them. But at some level, if we don't have a rule of law here, what are they leaving? They're leaving a lawless, oppressive country to come to another oppressive country that they will not have prosperity in. So at some level, we got to say no. I mean, or else we're just going to be like Mexico. I mean, what...
Stuart, it's common sense. We got to give credit to the folks in Murrieta. They've turned back 4 buses now.
Yes.
And we need everyone in America who cares about America to go ahead and stand up against this illegal immigration. The federal government's guilty of child trafficking. They won't let congressmen, they won't let the mainstream media, any media, in to see what's really going on with these kids. They're guilty of spreading a health crisis. These people have been infected with multiple diseases, scabies, to name one. And Border Patrol agents have reported being infected, drug-resistant TB. Okay, and so the federal government is responsible for this. Obama goes around, which is all publicity stunt. He's a puppet, but I mean, he goes around on a publicity fundraising tour and doesn't even visit the border. It's absurd. It is... Man, I'm beyond words, but we know the plan, Stuart. It's the Cloward and Piven plan, which is a globalist, technocrat, social engineer plan to collapse the welfare state under its own weight by overloading the system, by bringing in so many people that the system cannot sustain itself. And who's paying for this? The taxpayer. And like we just went over, record high unemployment. There's not going to be enough people working to support these people, okay? I mean, it's absurd, Stuart. And to add more credence to what we're saying, a great Mexican-American activist who brought a lot of great civil rights, and we now have a day, Cesar Chavez Day here in California, back when he was real active and with the labor movement for the United Farm Workers, he said that we should not allow illegal immigration because that is direct competition with Mexican, American, and Filipino agriculture workers who are already here. And that's just common sense. These people are going to come here and if not get on welfare, compete with you directly for your jobs, which are vanishing as fast as the economy is drying up.
Exactly. You're going to pay for it either way.
Is Cesar Chavez a racist?
No, yes.
He's against Mexicans.
He's definitely a racist while being...
a great Chicano movement leader,
but also a racist, and right? I mean, that's the double
narrative.
Think.
That's the narrative the mainstream media is pushing.
That is the double think. I bet you they'll say that Martin Luther King was a racist too. Yeah, so we're gonna pay for it regardless through welfare, through our taxes, or the government devaluing our dollar to pay for this, or they're gonna take your jobs. Okay, but there's not that many jobs left anyway. So I don't think we're going to really have to worry about that, but we are going to have to worry about with this Cloward and Piven. I believe it was in the 60s when these guys introduced this strategy to fight the war on poverty. See, all these social programs are in the name of fighting poverty, but all they do is just create more poverty. All they do is just, they make everyone poor. Let's fight poverty and just make everyone poor so we won't be fighting anymore, I guess, because everyone will just be poor. So that's the strategy. And we know the plan is it's to create the North American Union. They want to make Americans believe that they can't, I'm sorry, we're going to collapse the border, and Canada and Mexico, just like Petraeus said, it's really three economies, that we need to put together. And so when they collapse us here in America, they're just going to say, well, we're going to need to create the North American Union and merge Mexico and Canada with America. And that means bye-bye Constitution and Bill of Rights. And bye-bye guns, bye-bye prosperity, bye-bye to everything.
The people pushing this agenda of unlimited immigration and border collapse, they are not well-meaning liberals. They are not idiots. They are ruthless technocrat social engineers who know exactly what they're doing. And they masquerade as caring for the poor, like Stuart said. But what they really want is the collapse of America and a tyrannical, oppressive dictatorship here where they can sit up on high and rule the rest of us. And that's what they're ushering in under the guise of if you're against it, you're racist and hate poor children, when they're bringing in MS-13 gang members. Okay, evidence of that is they're leaving their graffiti marks all over the deportation centers walls. And another well, it was unconfirmed but very disturbing nonetheless is there's Yes We Can sneakers with Obama's photo, with his image on them, with the word saying yes you can on the sneakers. Okay, and so these exist, and it's been yet to be confirmed, but the story's going around the internet that they're handing out these sneakers to these poor people. And the loser in all this, Stuart, is these poor people, because they are fleeing very bad conditions. But the person, or who's to blame for it? The federal government, because that's one of the jobs that they are responsible for is securing our border, and they're not doing it.
If we actually had a free market in this country, we could actually afford to take tens of millions of immigrants. But the problem is that we're a welfare state. We're not a free market, because you steal everyone's money through inflation, through taxes, through the welfare state. So it's not a free market. You can't operate. You can't make money in this country anymore. Okay, that'd be racist. So we could actually, under the Bill of Rights and Constitution and a free marketplace, we could actually sustain a massive amount of people here. But they are not allowing the marketplace to operate. So, but let me go back to this, the federal government literally trafficking humans across the border illegally, and then telling us that we're racist terrorists and that we need to step away because you're impeding immigration. It's a freaking joke. Can me and Sam can we go over to Mexico and then start trafficking children and make some money? I mean, is that, well, that's not racist though. I guess that's loving, to traffic children. And maybe not even just children, MS-13 gang members. It doesn't even matter. Just traffic whoever you want. I mean, can we go do that since the government's doing it? And they're not even they're trying to cover it up, but it's a joke, them trying to cover it up as well, because everyone sees what's going on. But think about it that way. Can you just go traffic humans now? I mean, is that just okay? Because it seems like it's okay.
It's absurd. That's what our federal government's doing. And think about this. These MS-13 gang members are directly linked to the Mexican drug cartels. They're getting shipped all over America to set up shop to sell drugs in hometown USA, everywhere. So if we didn't have a bad enough drug problem in this country, and we reported a while back that, record high opium production has come out of Afghanistan, and we're going to see a massive increase of drugs, hardcore narcotics, cocaine, heroin, methamphetamine, all the drugs that really kill people and really are bad news. We're going to see a massive increase trafficked in with help from our federal government by MS-13 gang members.
Yeah, and if drugs were just legal, it would eliminate that whole issue. It would eliminate the black market and all these drug cartels living these lavish lifestyles of making a lot of money and just killing people and getting away with it. Because, the government does the same thing. So they're in cahoots with each other. They like that. Really, it's very tough to see this because, I can sit back and I can get mad and kind of upset, but really it ain't going to matter. What's going to happen is going to happen. It's what we do about it. So all you can do is educate yourself, educate other people. Money's not going to be worth anything soon. You're going to have to find other ways to barter, to trade, and knowledge is really what you need to concentrate on. If you understand what's going on and you're mad, well, figure out ways to raise public awareness peacefully. Explain to people that you love, hey, this is probably not going to stop, but hey, you can arm yourself with knowledge because this is going to be a process, okay? This will be a process, and instead of caring about sporting events, pick up a book and read what these technocrats write, and then also read what Austrian economists write, and then you'll understand what America should be like in a real free market and how prosperous we could be. And we could take all these immigrants, but we're not operating in a free market. We're a welfare state.
Obama's proposing $3.7 billion to help fund this crisis, which is another joke because only 5% of that is going to go to boots on the ground to defend the border when we could deport these people for 0.05% of that money, give them a first-class ticket back to wherever they came from, and that would be part of the solution, Stuart, right there. Instead of just throwing money at the problem, which is just going to be gobbled up by more corruption in the federal government.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, the government does print money like it's going out of style, so why not just print all the money and that you need and just ship them back? But they won't do that because then that would actually help. But they're not interested in actually helping the United States prosper and, act in the rule of law. Like they just don't care about that. So we need to understand that these are hardcore criminals that have taken over, not just the United States, many areas of the globe. And they are trying to collapse the last beacon of freedom, not because we're fighting all these wars. It's because the Bill of Rights and Constitution, that's why people want to come to America. The people that really understand what America's about, they understand that if they come over here, they're going to have rights. But honestly, will these children have the same rights when it all collapses? I mean, are they coming here to get the real American dream, or are they just coming here to be on welfare? Because I understand that might be better than living in some of these terrible, tyrannical countries where you have to work every day, hard labor just to feed your family, and then you can't prosper at all. I understand the want to come and live in America, but this is all going to end. Okay, the gravy train will end.
Stuart, another part of the collapse of America, the degeneration of our society, is they are now holding satanic black mass rituals at the Oklahoma City Civic Center in the state of Oklahoma. No, they are. I mean, it's out of this world. They are holding satanic black masses there, and it's to mock the Catholic Church is what they say. The reason why they're doing it. But I mean, I'm all for freedom of religion.
Yeah.
But where do we draw the line? The religious Satanism sees the Black Mass as a religious ceremony to empower themselves and receive a blessing from the devil. That's how the group of satanic worshipers described it.
I wonder how many people that go to these satanic black masses have anything to offer society. I wonder if they're on welfare. I wonder if they even have a job. There's so much to do, constructive things to do, than to go worship Satan or to just mindlessly watch daytime television. There's so much that you could be doing with your life, but that's what's going to happen when they want to keep people from prospering and regulate everything and control and dominate these elites. We're going to see this more and more because people have time on their hands to just get involved in stupid, mindless, evil things. Okay. And so if you really don't want to be a part of that, you need to start fighting this tyranny, or else you're going to live in this society where people are just worshiping Satan and just not doing anything to progress. So stand up now and fight it, okay? Or else this is what you're going to live under.
I'm going to go over 10 solutions real quick. We're running out of time here. Do not borrow money from banks and stop using your credit card. Use cash only. Learn to barter for local goods. Shop at locally owned stores. Avoid large corporate stores such as Walmart, Costco, who removed and then put back the D'Souza book, America. Grow your own garden. Grow as much food as you can at home. Buy used items instead of new. Start a business producing real physical goods and sell them locally. Recycle old items. Avoid eating at fast foods. Avoid GMO food. Get everyone you know involved, especially those in your own neighborhood. I know that's hard. I'm working on it myself, but we need to raise the red flag because we're going down in flames here, America.
Folks, that's all we have time for you tonight. Thanks for listening. Peace, love, and liberty. Good night.